Welcome truly to Baghdad. Now you are really in the city. You can hear the call to prayer. We're in a fruit and vegetable market. It's Ramadan. You're in Baghdad now.
During Ramadan, you're saying that the call to prayer is longer and more ornate, sort of. It's more...
People tend to spend a longer time in the mosque. The call to prayers are a little bit more extended, more elaborate. Women tend to dress more conservatively. It's just a time of increased reflection, increased spirituality.
Now, I'm not wearing a headscarf. My sleeves are rolled up and everything. Is it?
It's not a conservative religious society.
Okay.
I mean, you're not Muslim. You're not Iraqi. People wouldn't care about it. I mean, look, the pictures. You know, they have a picture with a woman in a veil, and they have a picture with a woman with her hair out.
Right.
So it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's not Afghanistan, where it's a much more conservative society.
Well, in Afghanistan, we just even with women wearing the abaya or not, you wouldn't see this many women on the street.
No, Iraq didn't have. It was a dictatorship under Saddam, but it didn't have an issue with women.
Yeah.
Women went to university. Women held government jobs.
Yeah.
It had a problem with freedom in general, but women wouldn't have been the issue that they had. They had other problems.
Yeah. Richard, so right now we're sort of in between the Karada district and downtown. When we were getting ready to leave this morning, there was a big bombings. 41 people killed at a...
Not that far from here.
So we're sort of in central Baghdad. That was in northeast Baghdad.
That was in an area where it was a Iraqi military base.
The recruiting center, right?
And there were more than 40 people killed.
Yeah.
All army recruits. And there have been a lot of attacks against police and security services recently.
Since we've been here, that's what I've been reading about most. That's what we've been hearing about since we've been here, is attacks on policemen, including policemen being shot and then their bodies burned, which is obviously even more of a statement than just the attacks on...
Trying to say Al-Qaeda. It's Al-Qaeda that does that kind of thing.
So it's Sunnis. It's Al-Qaeda. And what's their message? That they're not...
Well, the Sunnis think the government is a Shiite government. They don't agree with it. They think that it is a foreign, alien government that is un-Islamic, that has been brought by the United States and which is supported by Iran.
Yeah.
That's the Sunni way of viewing the government. And they think attacking it is a good thing. They're taking legitimacy away from it. They're hurting Iran in the process. They have a worldview. This would be Al-Qaeda in Iraq or other hardline Sunni groups.
Two timing issues, though. One of the things they always say, and this is one of the ways that American officials are sort of trying to say this isn't so important, is because it's Ramadan, they say we expect attacks to go up during Ramadan. Why is that? You would think during a holy month that actually things would be quieter.
If you're fighting a religious war, and this is a time of increased religious passions, then your passion to fight that religious war goes up.
To be martyred during Ramadan is even more holy and more special. Wow. In terms of the other timing issue, the withdrawal of U.S. combat troops, the end of Operation Iraqi Freedom is happening right now. When U.S. troops pulled out of the cities last June, summer of 2009, there was an increase in attacks right around the time of the withdrawal. Do you expect that there's more violence keyed to that withdrawal?
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a symbolic time. There are groups in here who want to make it look like they're kicking the Americans out, that they had to withdraw under fire.
Those would be Shiites, though.
Both.
Shiites,
both.
Okay.
And a lot of that is for their own constituency.
Yeah.
Look, brother, we've been fighting all this time. The Americans are leaving. We forced them out. Mm-hmm. We forced them to go. So all of your other martyrs who died didn't die in vain. So they have their own narrative that they have to complete.
Okay.
But is the society going to collapse? 40 died today. There have been a couple of died. Maybe another 20 have died in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Is that enough to topple the society? Probably not. Is it terribly unpleasant? Yes.
Yeah.
The question is, what happens next?
Yeah.
The Iraqi security forces are they going to take this kind of thing lightly, or are they going to start doing revenge attacks? Will they start settling scores? Will there be more torture in prisons as the Americans draw back?
Well, are the Iraqi security forces sectarian in any meaningful way?
As an institution, no. But there are sectarian problems with it. If you ask the Americans, they'll say, no, they're not. But there are. Yeah. There are a lot of sectarian history with people who participate in the security forces, and people who've lost family members. Let's say you've had your family slaughtered by a Shiite, you're going to be still upset about that.
Right. Can we walk?
Yeah, please do.
So when you're out in Baghdad making this decision to take me here and do these things today,
I'm delighted that you are here. I really am. We haven't done this, and we don't do this enough. And just to get a sense of what the place looks like.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. Ramadan Kareem. Ramadan Kareem is what everyone says. It's Ramadan. It's a happy Ramadan.
Happy Ramadan?
Well, Ramadan Kareem Ramadan is generous, and Ramadan is great. Literally what it means. But
Kareem?
Yeah. Kareem. And it's Allahu Akram is the response. God is even more generous.
When you think about going out in Baghdad now, how do you know which neighborhoods you feel safe, comfortable walking around in?
This is a good neighborhood. It's a regular neighborhood, but it's not the most dangerous in town. It's been relatively stable over the last several years. And so, yeah, I didn't want to take you to the worst part in Baghdad and have you shot. That would hardly be a nice thing to do as a tour guide. That would be a bad tour guide move.
That's for the advanced Richard Engel tour. This is still the beginner's tour.
But this is a representative neighborhood. I mean, it is Baghdad. You'll get the same kind of opinions you'll get anywhere else. Maybe we won't do as many interviews with Al-Qaeda militants. We can schedule those for later.
All right. We'll schedule those for after iftar.
Yeah, exactly.
People are less cranky. But in terms of the neighborhood like this and how it has changed, does this compare? Oh, live fish, very nice.
Mazgoof. This is the national dish. These are carp.
Oh.
And what they do is you buy them live, and then they cut them in half, and they open them up and smoke them. And if you buy them, actually, you see this big charcoal pit over there?
I was wondering why we saw open fire on the street.
They'll grill them for you, and then you can take it home ready.
You take it home cooked.
You take it home cooked, or you can take it home as is.
Very nice.
And by the pound. So they weigh it.
Yeah.
And Mazgoof, it's a big fish.
It activates my fishing instinct. I think I could catch those.
Yeah, I think you can catch those.
Of water, I can catch those. But a neighborhood like this, has it changed much since 7 years ago? If you were here in 2002, would this neighborhood look like this?
Well, 2002, under Saddam, we couldn't have done this. Walked around, gone anywhere we want, film, talk to people. Forget about it. I mean, we did film a little bit under Saddam, but there was always minders with us. There were always people all over us. So 2002,
we couldn't have
radically different.
But would it have looked like this? Yeah. Would there have been this kind of...
I mean, it would have looked pretty much the same. Maybe a little more variety of items, more fruit. Saddam didn't have great relations with all of his neighbors, so there wasn't a lot of trade going on. But it would have looked pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Things would have been a lot cheaper, by the way.
Oh, really?
Baghdad is going to become very expensive. You go to people's house. A house in this neighborhood might rent for decent 2-bedroom. Might rent for $600 a month because it's a safe neighborhood.
Yeah.
Under Saddam, it would have been very, very cheap. We're talking a few dollars, $50, $60 a month. So life has gotten much, much more expensive. Much, much more expensive. And what's the comparison? And the services don't work. Services. That's what I was going to ask. They don't work. Electricity. It doesn't work. Water? Nothing. Well, water is tied to electricity. Okay. So because you got to be able to pump the water around. Mm-hmm.